What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching another segment of Music Theory Applied. Everybody uses music theory. Sometimes you just don't know it. And today I'm going over something that you just don't know you're doing sometimes. And that is extracting the sounds of the major scale. Every single sound, you know what? People just call it the modes. We call it sounds. We're going to extract the sounds out of each spot in the key. So the modes, I guess you could call it that. I'm not going over all of them today because that would just be a gypsy lesson, and this is all about understanding everything easily and completely. So we're going to tackle one mode at a time or one sound at a time so that after each video you understand how to get that sound. If I jam them all into one video, you'll just be like a lost puppy at the mall. So let's just take it easy, go one at a time. There's no rush. Quality over quantity. You want to be a better player, not a I don't even know how to say that, but you know what I'm saying. So we're going to go over the quality of how to get each sound. And today I'm going to start with the Ionian mode or the Ionian sound and explain how to get it and what it is. So Ionian is one of the three major sounds. Each one of them has their own flavor. This is the Ionian flavor, like vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. So the first sound is called Ionian. That basically means when you use the chord that is first in the major key, or the note, primarily mostly the note for melody purpose, when you resolve to that note the most, or build your sound around that first chord, that is called the Ionian sound. When the piece of music resolves to that first note of the chord, the key, that is the Ionian sound. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is learning how to resolve to that note, and to create different pieces of music using the Ionian sound. And maybe you'll recognize some songs that use it. Now, there is so much music theory to cover still between sounds and endings of songs and how they end and bridges and all sorts of stuff. Let's just go one piece at a time. And today we're focusing on the first sound, a very common sound when using the major key. So if you're using a major key instead of a minor key, Ionian is an extremely popular sound, if not the most. Now, we're going to start with a simple pattern to understand how this works. Now, remember, guys, I'm trying to keep this easy. So there are obviously more complicated ways to do what I'm going to show you, but we're going to start with easy first. As you graduate, you can either self-teach yourself how to go move along, or you can keep watching these videos. It's totally up to you. Either way, we're going to get you to play everything, we're going to get you to be badass. You're going to reach your personal best, and you're going to know how to create all these sounds and the keys that everybody else creates, so that you can continue to write endless music without ever writing the same thing twice and without ever sounding the same. So we're going to use the modal box pattern, the ones I've showed you before, this basic major scale pattern. We're going to use that scale to demonstrate for you how to create these sounds, because it's visual and you'll be able to see it when I use a pattern instead of just telling you or playing something obscure in the middle of the neck that you can't follow. This is all about you being able to follow the lesson. So I'm going to make the lesson very simple and basic, and then as we move along, things will get more involved. So just bear with me. If you're nervous about learning music theory, or you've heard the modes and you're confused, or you even know something about them, that's great. I'm not telling you to just throw away what you know, but just watch this with an open mind, and let me show you another take on what you might already know. If you don't know anything, well then just watch back and enjoy. You're going to get educated or something like that, So basically, let's do this. We're going to resolve to G using the G major scale. So when you resolve to this note of G, you need to be using the key of G and only the notes from G. So keeping to this basic scale does just that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to play you the scale ending on the G note to show you what it sounds like when I end on a G playing through the scale. There's a very basic version of Ionian. right, that is the Ionian sound. I'm in the key of G, but I'm ending on the 1. And it can be the same thing with a set of chords. They can also end on that 1. And a lot of times in the chord progression, though, you'll be repeating that chord a lot to establish that Ionian tone. Maybe something like a power chord riff that revolves around the G power chord, maybe. It doesn't have to stay to 1, 4, and 5. If you noticed, I played the G, the D, and the C power chords. These are the 1, 4, 5 notes in the key of G, and they are commonly used together when you're playing in the key of G, especially when you're going for a major sound and when G is the root. You're going to see these chords all the time. They don't have to start on G, but they'll most likely end on that G. See what I'm saying? Anything you do that ends on that G is going to get you that sound. Bands that play major keys a lot, Bon Jovi, Poison, bands like that, they stay a lot to the major keys. The newer bands do too, if anybody's into newer bands. Anything on the radio, a lot of times it's mostly major key stuff because that's happy music. So all happy music is in the major keys. And one of the happiest sounds is that Ionian sound you get when you resolve to that first chord of a key. So if I just played a little melody here. Ending on that G gives it a final resolve that sounds like it's finished and it's done. You see? If I end somewhere else, like if I put a pause in there and end on this A string, sorry you can't see my strings here, let's get the strings in there now. So now if I play something like this and I just kind of go on the A string, I'm ending on the A, but it doesn't sound finished. That sounds finished. You can drag it out as long as you want, as long as you get back to the G. And there's sometimes getting to the G sounds stronger than other times. It depends on what note your chord you're coming off of. And we're going to get into that in some other videos about what chords to choose before you end your phrase to set up your ending, getting into cadences and things like that. How to know what to use when. Because you can just go Google information, but you don't know how to use it. That's why we're here. Anybody can go look something up, but it doesn't mean you know how to use it or apply it. And that's what the lessons are for. Because by all means, go Google what a play cadence is, or a cadence, or a perfect cadence, or an imperfect cadence. Go look up cadences. But you have to learn how to use them. They'll give you the facts, but you won't know how to use it. And that's what I'm here to help you. That's what I'm here to help you do. So the first thing we're doing today is, again, getting to that Ionian note. It's pretty simple. You got to practice getting to the G chord or the G note from whatever you're doing in the key of G. So just using this simple pattern. Ends on G. That's why a lot of times you'll hear that ending going. To let everyone know, if you haven't figured out that, if they haven't figured out that the sound is ending the piece, we throw in that little stop so that it stops, and now you physically know it's over. But that's what Ionian is. Now, you can do this on your basic chords. There you go. G, D, A minor, G is just it's a G Ionian sound. And over that, you'd be ending on that G. You got to get back to that G. And practicing different chords that resolve to G is what's going to make you be able to get that sound better. So it's, you're going to move things around a little bit. So you're practicing it. Just listening to what it sounds like to bring any of the chords in the key back to the G. So that was B minor to G. A little A minor, B minor, G, right? Just to hear what it sounds like. So if you're on a cleaner sound, you might get something like this, and you can kind of play around. Or something like that. All different ways you can practice it. There's the same thing with the notes. You're practicing your notes getting to the G. It all sounds finished if you stay in the key of G and then end on that G. And so that's why you always hear that same sound as recognizable, because anytime you hear it, everybody who's creating it is doing the same thing. They're in the key of G, ending on a G. And when you hear that, that's what you get. So it could be a car commercial, it could be a sitcom television show, it could be a ballad, a love song, it could be anything like that. It's all, if it's in Ionian, it's ending on the 1. If you're in the key of A major going off this A, then it's your same thing. You're going to be off the A now. Little C sharp minor to D. Back to your A. You're going to walk it back. Countless songs walk 4, 3, 2, 1. So getting back to that 1 is extremely popular in popular music, and you should know what it is and how to do it, and understand when you hear it, understand that is Ionian. You should be able to pick up on it whenever you hear it in a song. It is highly recognizable once you understand it. So now when you're listening to anything, start listening and paying attention to how these things end. Pay attention to how that car commercial ends. It's only going to be 30 seconds, so they're going to catch your ear, or it's 15 seconds, whatever it is. It's going to end, and you want to recognize what that is. If it happens to be Ionian, you want to be able to tell and go, wow, you know what? I think they ended that on Ionian. And maybe when you have a guitar around, you can go kind of plop around and see what that last chord was and backpedal into the thing they were playing and see how they got to where they got. So that's what the Ionian sound is. It's understanding the first sound of a major key, and it is the same sound in all the keys. So just like all the information we learn, that vibe of Ionian is the same in every key. So I tried it for you in G. I showed it to you in A. Let's try it in C major. Let's see what happens if we go to C. C, F, and a G. Back to C. It's there. It's that same Ionian vibe. So you practice it with your melodies, you practice it with the chords, you work on getting different sounds. Basically walking up and down this scale box, right? Getting back to that note. I can barely see it from here with the sun in my face, but you get what I'm saying here. There's that same C note. You can stay right on, a couple strings, and you're getting that Ionian sound if you can just get back to the root. It's really just that simple. 3 notes will create the Ionian sound. That's Ionian. Guys, that's what you have to be working on. Something like that. Now, to add to that, there are 2 other major sounds. The 4th sound and the 5th sound. Now, we use those sounds, and without resting on those 4 and 5s, you rest on the 1. When you begin to rest on the 4 or the 5, you're now creating a different vibe, and that gets you away from Ionian. So you can use the other chords when you make your Ionian sounds, but you don't want to be resolving to those chords. When you do, you're going to immediately pick up the vibe of that chord, and then if you go back to the C, you will reestablish that Ionian vibe. And so that's basically what it is. Ionian is a very popular sound. You get it by staying in the key that you're in and resolving to the first letter of the key, specifically when you're in the major key. This is not the case when you're starting out in the minor key and your minor 1 is whatever it is. this doesn't work there. This only works when you're starting from the first note of a major scale or a major key. And that is the first modal sound, Ionian. All the names are Greek. They end in I-A-N. This is Ionian, I-O-N-I-A-N. Ionian. The Ionian mode is another name for the G major, for the major scale. I chose to put it in G this time, so here it would be the G major scale. But that is what it is, and you get that sound. That's Ionian, folks. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in another video. This video is a little shorter because I don't want to blow you away with too much information at one time. So there it is, 15-minute video. Now you can master the Ionian sound. Come back when you're ready, and we'll do the next video soon. Thanks for watching.